Καλώς ήρθατε. Welcome. My name is Anastasia Ozuni and I'm a Senior Project Manager at JH. This is the platform track and I will be your MC for the day. Without any further delays, let me introduce you to Jason Ford, our next speaker. Jason has been working with Adobe for the last 3 years and is currently a lead solutions consultant in EMEA. Prior to that, he was the head of web within a commerce agency. Experience working with brands, building, delivering, and running successful commerce websites. Without any further ado, please welcome Jason Ford.
Thanks so much, Anastasia. Welcome to the platform track, everyone. Really good to be here. Really good to be at the Meet Magento event. I know I've attended many over the years. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about AI personalization and product recommendations, as well as live search in the Adobe Commerce platform. Now, the Meet Magento guys have very kindly given me permission to actually run some demos during the presentation as well. So you're not just going to see slides, you're actually going to see it live working in the sort of environment, and we can show you how easy it is to implement. So we've got a lot to cover in the next half an hour, so we're going to jump straight into it. So firstly, we're going to look at product recommendations powered by Adobe Sensei. And firstly, what are product recommendations? Well, product recommendations are any kind of product grid that's being shown, you know, whether it's upsells, cross sells, anything along those lines at various points during the shopping experience. Generally, we should know, you know, I think everybody knows by now that any sort of personalization you can do to those recommendations are always going to be much better received by the end user. And so that's where some of these product recommendation features come into play. Now, as these slides come in, we've got some stats on screen as to how they can potentially have an impact. They can obviously improve the conversion rates drastically. You can increase average order value. You can really affect those metrics that affect your revenue coming through the site. However, if you do them poorly, they can have a negative effect. I mean, I think we've all been on, you know, well-known marketplace site around the world that has product recommendations. You're like, how do those products even link together? Well, you know, that can lead to a frustrating customer experience where the customer just, you know, doesn't really think that you understand them, doesn't feel like you have the products that they're wanting. So, you know, we want to make sure that these things are recommended on a per customer basis. So talking about customers, we want to make sure that we are creating the engagement, increasing the revenue, growing that acquisition by showing customers products before they even know that they want them. And we can do all of this using customer behavior modeling and those sorts of things. But we also don't want to spend a lot of time as marketers building those models, researching our customers, looking at analytics and figuring out, okay, this type of customer wants this type of customer wants that. When you've got a product catalog of, you know, even a few hundred products, you know, let alone a few thousand products, that can be incredibly time consuming. And so that's where we want to use our time more wisely and use something like AI. So for anybody that doesn't know, Adobe Sensei is Adobe's machine learning and AI platform. So it's a whole platform of machine learning strategies that we can implement. What we've got in Adobe Commerce is 2 modules. We've got live search and we've got product recommendations. Those are modules built for Adobe Commerce that leverage the power of Adobe Sensei. So again, you're not having to create your own AI machine learning algorithms or anything like that. They're just built in and a couple of clicks and you're off to the races. Now, Adobe's well known in the industry for providing like the most innovative AI capabilities throughout all of the products, and Adobe Commerce is no exception. So what do you get with product recommendations? Well, you get a huge number of recommendation types. We also have a very simple built-in module that you can deploy. Everything's managed within the Adobe Commerce admin. So you're not going off to a third-party platform or anything like that. And then you can start doing more advanced things like even visual matching of products. So we're using AI to look at the imagery of the products and start to visually match those products to other products. Obviously, that's incredibly useful in retail type situations. We're only going to be building on top of this as well. So more and more recommendation types. We've recently added a whole load of features to enable inclusion and exclusion rules on product recommendations. And we'll actually show you those in a little bit. So the whole idea behind this is that implementation is as quick as adding an API key and clicking go. It really is that simple. We're not asking you to go off to a third-party system and create designs and layouts and all of those things and have to control the feeds of products going in and out of the system. That's all just handled for you by the modules. We also support PWAs with specifically PWA Studio built PWAs with product recommendations. There's going to be more and more features coming out where we're supporting more and more PWAs, but you know, for now you can go live with PWA Studio, and that includes all of the collection of customer behavior data and those sorts of things. Again, I already mentioned admin based, so you don't have to go off to a third-party system. It's all just built into the one interface that you're used to using, and it's just located under that marketing tab. So where you'd be going in anyway to create all your related product rules and those sorts of things. In terms of creating them, super simple, stepped-based approach. We even give you a little preview of what those recommendations are going to, you know, what products are likely to appear in those recommendations. Obviously, each of them are going to be tailored to the end user coming through, depending on what products they've got in their basket and those sorts of things. And this is that inclusion and exclusion that we were talking about before. So generally what I recommend with this and where I see the best results is using these with a very light touch. So you generally want to say, okay, we'll exclude out of stock products and include products from this category because it's going on this category's landing page or something like that. But you can really drill down into those. Again, we want the AI to learn based on your customer behavior, based on your product catalog, what products to recommend and where. And now it's time to quickly jump over to a demo. So hopefully you can see the Luma homepage, and obviously we can have product recommendations throughout the shopping experience. So maybe some trending products on the homepage, maybe looking at if a customer has come back to the site, maybe viewed this, bought that type experience. So, you know, they came to the site, browsed a few products, didn't find what they were looking for. So maybe we want to recommend some other products based on customer behavior. Obviously, we can use this throughout the shopping experience. If we go into, you know, a top level landing page and show some product recommendations. And even when we go through to the actual product page itself, down here, we can have some product recommendations and, you know, even combine those with the related product rules that are also part of Adobe Commerce. Now, in terms of creating these, all we need to do is come into the admin. We'll click on marketing, go to product recommendations. And within here, what we can easily do is create a new recommendation. Choose how we want this to be labeled. So this is just our internal labeling. So it might be customers also bought, and we want this to go on the basket page. So we can choose which page we want it to go on. We can also use Page Builder to insert it into any page of the site that we want. So even on blog pages and article pages, you can have product recommendations appear, as well as landing pages, home pages, all sorts of places. Now we can choose our recommendation type. So for this, maybe we want bought this, bought that. So we're looking at the customer's behavior, you know, what products they've currently got in their shopping cart and what other customers also bought alongside that. obviously the AI is going to learn over time which products to recommend with which. Now, as a sort of visual indicator for the customer, we might also want to say, you might also like, as the title, we can choose the number of products to show, and we can also choose a fallback method. So if there's not enough products to show, then we can fall back to a different recommendation type. And then finally, we've got those inclusions and exclusions that we were talking about. So I'm going to keep this really simple. Only products that I want to exclude are the out of stock products, because we don't want to give that customer a poor customer experience by recommending a product that they then go to the product page and then it's out of stock. So we can easily kind of exclude those products there. Now, all I'd need to do is click activate. And what this will do is start collecting information based on the customer's behavior. And as soon as it recommends, as soon as it sees it can recommend a product or a set of products to a customer, it will start showing on the front end. So it won't show if it doesn't feel like it can recommend a product to a customer. And that's, again, where we're slightly differentiating ourselves from other players in the market, in the sense that we're not trying to bombard the customer with recommendations for the sake of it. We're just concentrating on providing real valuable recommendations to each user as we go. Now, you can create these recommendations on a per store view basis, and you can target individual stores with different content, and you'll get a whole bunch of different stats in the background here in terms of click-throughs and interactions. You can also have it marked up on the front end so that it feeds into things like GA for additional reporting if you want to. Okay, we're going to jump back to the presentation, and we're going to go on to live search. So live search is a very new feature, really. It was launched for general availability just a little while ago, but it's been in active development and early access beta for a while with some of our customers. Again, this is powered by Adobe Sensei. So we're using that same AI technology that's in there, that's powering some of the world's best user experiences to drive this into your hands and make it available to you as part of your license fee. You know, so there's no additional costs or anything associated with it. Site search as a whole is incredibly important. I'm sure all of you that look at your sort of analytics for your site realize that, you know, a large portion of your customers will use site search in the majority of cases. Obviously, there's a few industries and verticals where that's either more or less the case, but also that generally site search customers perform better, right? They're more likely to convert. So we want to make that that process as easy as possible for customers to use, and as easy as possible for them to find the products that they're wanting. Now, this breaks down into a few different parts. Okay, so the first part is we need to index and get a big catalog of all of the products, all the data associated with those products, and that can be, you know, time consuming, it can be resource intensive, all of that sort of stuff. Then what we need to do is look at the changing behavior of customers. You know, what products are they searching for when? You know, does it depend on the time of year, what products they've also been viewing or adding to their basket? You know, how are we defining that? And then finally, we need to apply intelligence to all of that data to make sure we're recommending products to the end user that are relevant to their search results, as well as, you know, ideally merchandised in the best possible way for them to find the product that they're wanting and to convert on it. So all of this is stuff that we're trying to cover with live search, and that we've done a lot of work to kind of address. So this is currently what the sort of situation is with like Magento open source and various options. So with Magento open source, you have basic full text Elasticsearch. You can prioritize different different attributes, but you're having to make those decisions, right? It's not adapting to those customers as they're coming through the site. You also have the option of using something like Elastic Suite, which I've personally used in the past. It's a great set of tools. It requires quite a lot of heavy lifting. It's not exactly end user friendly to make changes to. And then you've got third-party systems like Algolia and SwiftType and Clayvu, right? And again, great use cases for these products, but they are a third party, so you're having to then work in a secondary app. You're having to sync all the data across, and you know that becomes another tool to manage. So what we've introduced is live search for Adobe Commerce, and what we're aiming for live search to do is to be really customizable by the end user. So again, we'll show you a little bit of a demo of how easy it is to modify and change, but we're also aiming for this to be as adaptable to whatever sales channel you wanted to work with. So this was actually one of the first API first features that we've launched, right? So the APIs were in there before we started working on the UI elements of this this feature set. So it works with headless, it works with PWAs, it works with all of that sort of stuff, and gives you all of those features at a really performant system. And it's just out of the box, customizable from the Magento admin. So these are the kind of core benefits of it. Obviously, we want richer shopping experiences. We're using the AI power to reduce the amount of time that we have to work on it, and that leads to a lower total cost of ownership. Obviously, it being part of the Adobe Commerce license also reduces that total cost of ownership. And we're also making it as flexible as possible, giving developers and your teams the ability to implement it in a number of different ways, and you know, reduce time to market with it, because we're not provisioning extra resources to support it. So what does this mean for the end user? So right at the start, we said, you know, this is all about the end user, making their lives easier, so that they're more likely to convert, they're more likely to find the products that they're looking for. Well, what we've got is obviously type ahead searching. So it's going to predictively search ahead. It's going to show products it's going to show suggestions of different search terms, and it's going to do this in a live basis. So that's where the live comes from. So as you're typing, it's going to be constantly returning results and loading those in. It's also going to be applying synonyms to the search terms to find the most relevant products. When they actually go through to a search results page, remembering, you know, just from the search bar, they can click directly into a product. If they go through to an actual search results page, you get all of the faceted navigation on the left-hand side. So being able to filter by attributes and option, and you've got single choice and multi-choice options in there. So you can see that from the categories and the style, you can select multiple choices, and it will filter those as an OR condition into the search results. The other thing to note, and I'll show you this in a little bit, is the filtering on the left-hand side is using AI to adjust the ordering of the filters as well. So, you know, if somebody searches for jacket versus bag, they're going to get some different attributes on the left side, depending on what's most important. Obviously, you can still do the sorting, and we can implement like infinite scrolling and all of those sorts of features that you would kind of expect from a search result. So in terms of your time and managing this on an ongoing basis, how do we make this as easy as possible? So we automatically choose the best facets to give to the end user. We're intelligently ordering the products and the facets to make again, save you time from having to go in and decide on these things, research them, implement them, test them, all of that sort of stuff. It's all happening in the background. We're giving the customer options to resort, and we also give you rules in case you want to boost or bury or pin certain search products to certain search results. So here's an example of the kind of boost, bury, pin and hide products from search results that you can do. So this is where you want to get a bit more granular in the search results. Maybe you've got certain new products launching and you want to slightly boost them in the search result, not necessarily pin them to the top, but boost them within the search results. You can do that as well. And all of these events can be kind of created and handled just in the admin. And this is where you sort of manage those rules. So you can go in, you can see which ones are active, you can schedule them into the future and have them run for a period of time. So again, use the example of a new product collection. You might want to boost those products for the period of like 2 weeks, and then have that automatically go back to the kind of regular results. So I mentioned synonyms. We have one-way and two-way synonyms that you can create. One-way synonyms, great example there. If somebody searches winter clothes, then we're going to search for these types of items. If someone searches for two-way synonyms, then all of those are interchangeable items. They all mean the same thing, and we're going to show results. You have complete control over those synonyms and how they're set up. Here's an example. You can just go in, add a new synonym, choose whether it's one way or two way, and start using it through your search results. So live search went live, as I said, just a little while ago in June. And we're already working on the sort of next phase. So this isn't like a final, this is how it's going to be forever. We're working on additional reporting features. We're working on implementing the B2B catalog pricing and permission features, so you can start making use of this on your B2B platform. And I'll quickly give myself a shout out. There's a B2B session just after this if you want to stay on the platform track, and we'll go through a few more of the B2B features. And we're also going to introduce more options around synonyms and boost and bury. So we're constantly innovating on this, constantly improving those features. Now, this is obviously what we said, included in your license for Adobe Commerce. There's no additional costs. You can download it as an extension, either from the marketplace or from your usual Composer window, and start making use of it straight away. Now we're jumping back into the demo. So this is, standard Luma homepage. Everyone's seen this a million times before, but we're going to use it for our demo. So I can start typing sort of yoga, and it will understand what I'm intending to search for. And maybe I want to find some yoga shorts. Okay, it's again predicting what I'm going to type. Now, if I think actually I want women's shorts, it's going to automatically adjust. Now, that's not an attribute that is in the title or anything like that. It's in the it's obviously a separate attribute that it's then prioritizing and reading from. And we're not just doing sort of a any or, we are prioritizing based on the search results that are coming through. Now, if I search for bag and go through to the search results page, obviously we get a bunch of bags. You can see on the left-hand side, we've got categories and price pinned to the top. So these are facets that we always want to be at the top, but the rest of the facets are ordered based on the AI. So if I now search for jacket, you can see that the eco collection and size are now higher up in that list, and it's reprioritized everything based on the type of search that I'm doing. And it's using the AI to kind of generate those the best practices for that. So in terms of how we manage this, I'm going to jump into the admin and show you. under marketing, you have this new live search option. And here we have the facets. And as you can see, we've got categories, price, and manufacturer as pinned facets. So if they are available on those products that we're viewing, so obviously manufacturer isn't in those two searches that we just did, but if they are, then they will be pinned to the top. And then the rest of these facets are dynamic facets. So that's allowing the AI to choose which, what order we want them in. Now you can also see that, for instance, color is a multi-select or, okay, and that allows us to select multiple colors. So if we want black and black or gray products, then we can easily search for that. But you can also set them up as single select product facets as well. Synonyms, we've got a couple of examples in here, fairly straightforward, just to add a new synonym, choose whether it's one way or two way, choose the terms, comma separated list. Obviously, you can look at the data associated with it, see if there's any sort of common synonyms that you'd want to put in, but it will learn over time what the best sort of results are. Now, rules, this is where that boost and bury feature set comes in. So what we can do is come into here, we can set conditions. So if search query contains like bag, we want to, we can add multiple conditions, and then we can choose whether we want to sort of boost or bury or pin products or even hide products, depending on the search criteria that's coming through. And we can then schedule that as part of an ongoing campaign, you know, tie it in for, you know, to a campaign that's going to last for a certain amount of time. We do have a built-in GraphQL. So if you've got developers that are working on a PWA, they can actually come into the admin and test out the search directly in here using GraphQL queries, which is a fantastic option for them. They don't have to build a front end. They don't have to go and use another tool set like Graphical or anything like that. They can just come in and start using it. Now, we do have a few additional settings, but this is all going to expand, and we're going to have a new reporting tab in here coming up as well. We already mentioned the continued development. There's going to be more options around the rules to enable more smarter rules that are able to adapt to multiple scenarios and those sorts of things. Right, I'm going to jump back, and I think we're nearly out of time. So what I might do is open it up to Q&A.
Thank you so much, Jason. That was really, really insightful. We have actually quite a few questions for you. So I hope you're ready for this. I'll start with the first one that is about, can recommendations be called externally, e.g. from a marketing email? And if not, is that on the roadmap, please?
Yep, so it's not on the roadmap at the moment, but it's not available at the moment, but it is on the roadmap. We are working on browser-based recommendations or app-based recommendations kind of first. So those kind of live interactions before we work on sort of email, external sort of email type recommendations. There might be ways around it for those that have clever developers that want to explore that. But for now, we are concentrating on web-based, site-based interactions. Then because you need to have a feedback loop, essentially, you need to have feedback into the system to make sure that we are learning from any interactions that the customers are having with those recommendations. So it obviously, when you take that out into a third party, it starts to become a little bit fragmented in terms of a feedback loop. But yeah, definitely something that's come up a few times, definitely something that's being considered for the roadmap.
Amazing, thank you very much. And can you only, I lost my question. Oh no. Can you only show recommendations after an X amount of recommendations happening on the search?
So for recommendations, you can show things like trending and like most viewed and those sorts of things pretty early on. It will take a little bit of time to pick up the best behaviors for things like customers who bought this also bought that, because you need kind of that data set to make realistic and recommended products. For live search, the live search functionality will be there straight away. It won't take any time to, essentially, as soon as you install the module, it will start cataloging and syncing your catalog over. So live search is a little bit different to product recommendations because we need a little bit more data to do some of those product recommendations, not all.
Perfect, thank you very much. And can the live searches attributes be tweaked for common spelling mistakes or typos?
Yep. So you kind of saw it was doing sort of type ahead searching and learning from the words that I was typing in to kind of populate existing words. But you can definitely use like some of the synonyms to correct common mistakes and things if they're not already being handled by the live search. So you have that ability to go in and just put a really simple one-way synonym, and then you're good to go.
Awesome. And the next one is, does it learn site-wide only, or can we limit the geographic store and give different recommendations per territory?
That's a fantastic question. Both of them are set up to work on a specific store view if you want them to. So you know, if you've got a German store view and a UK store view, you can have different recommendations and have them kind of segmented. It actually, in the kind of back end, if anybody's technical and wants to kind of know, we actually divide them up based on the store code in the databases that are behind there. So yeah, anything that's got a different store view code like that will have different sets of results, different behavior.
And one more, does the search facility have any voice or image search capability, please?
So great question. We haven't implemented that yet. It is definitely being discussed. With search, with voice search, the way that most of those things work is that there's a voice service doing a conversion to text and then doing the search. So you could, if you wanted to, actually implement that already using the graph, the live search endpoint to actually render the results, and using a voice recognition service like Amazon Lex or something like that to do the voice to text conversion. The image searching is a great one actually. That is something that we are discussing. We have obviously implemented image recommendations, which we call visual similarity, on the recommendation side. So we have the capability to do image type recommendations and matching products like that. We just haven't got that in live search at this point in time, and it would obviously require a little bit more work to do that kind of in real time to analyze an image and show results. But it's definitely something that's being talked about as well. So I mean, remember, live search came out in June, so last month. So we are already looking at, you know, new features and things to roll out before the end of the year.
Perfect, that's good news. And are there any limitations with the live search when you're searching for multiple languages, please?
So none specifically that I'm aware of. Obviously, we just already mentioned about having different store views for different languages. So that allows you to kind of keep them isolated and work with different content, different things in like even different product ranges and stuff in different store views. So yeah, there shouldn't be any issues around that.
I might be a bit cheeky and try to squeeze in one more question for you. How about that third-party data sources that could be used to inject info on the Sensei service? Would it be possible to add some additional on the products and orders, please?
Yeah, so at the moment, at the moment, the catalog sync into Adobe Sensei is a Magento catalog sync. So it works in the background on the Magento catalog. If you wanted to add additional data, you can obviously add that data to the products in Adobe Commerce and then have them sync into Adobe Sensei that way. At the moment, that is the primary path that we want to that we're supporting. That's not to say we won't support third-party data into Adobe Sensei. However, if you are looking at that sort of level of complexity to push additional data sources in, Adobe's got another product which is called Adobe Target, which allows you to do all your data modeling yourself, and create recommendations not just for like products and things, but also other like content recommendations and all that sort of stuff. So that's potentially something else to have a look at if you want to kind of deep dive into that and you're not happy with pushing additional data into Adobe Commerce for whatever reason.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think that is for our time. I haven't been pinged or given any notification from the organizers here as well, but thank you so much for your time, Jason.